friend, like, looks at him and points, like, takes hhis phone out of his pocket and points at it, like, frantically. So Chris realized that, okay, like, I should check my phone. Chris very sneakily takes out his phone, because now, like, in college, at least for me, you can low-key have your phone out. There are some classes, some teachers are like, oh, I'll penalize your participation or whatever. But a lot, especially the lecture-based ones, they don't totally care. So, Chris, but in middle school, or at least high school, I
So
forgot
today
exactly
we're
when this took
gonna
place,
where are we
Chris
going
had to be very sneaky with taking his
to
phone out.
the
Chris looks down his phone, and he sees a text from an unknown number.
we gotta
That
find a
unknown
treasure
number
here, and
happens
I
to
have
be his
my
friend
boat,
in the
so
class.
yeah,
I guess he either
I'm gonna find my
got his
treasure.
number for a group project and just didn't put his contact in or something. And he's like, dude, I heard something crazy. And, sure enough, he's like, okay, what did you hear?
If I
And he's
die
like,
here,
dude,
fuck my
you're
life.
not gonna
Alright,
believe
let's
it.
go.
And, Chris is like very sneakily trying to type because he's not supposed to have his phone out in class. So he's low key like, bro, I'm not. Like, he's like, yeah, okay, just tell me. And that's when Chris receives a text message saying, Wolf Girl is gonna try and eat the teacher as revenge.
What the fuck?
You can only imagine how I reacted when I read this DM, dude. Like, I understand, like, this is crazy or whatever to the person
Dude,
who's
I
actually
forgot
there,
I was
but
fucking. I
just
don't know.
imagine how I reacted reading this DM on my Instagram. Like, I've already had a story like this, bro. And then there's another one of these. Are you serious? Anyways, right? So, Chris is looking at this. He's like, what is this? He kind of responds like, what does that even mean, dude? And, sure enough, right? Very soon, Chris never got a text message response. I think the kid just didn't want to, like, risk getting caught texting or anything. And also, I think the kid realized that, Chris would learn pretty quickly what that meant. Like, it wasn't going to be a mystery for very long what he meant by that. So this was the day where the teacher was handing back the tests. So the teacher had a bunch of tests. He was going around. He was handing them back, and eventually he got to the row with the wolf girl. And this is when things got pretty interesting. So the teacher goes up to the wolf girl and takes out the test. And remember, the wolf girl's in full wolf suit or whatever. And the teacher hands the test, is like handing over the test. The test is in the teacher's hand. And before, the teacher could drop the test on the wolf girl's desk, the wolf girl quickly kind of like lunges her head forward and like engulfs this, like, the teacher's hand into her mouth, which is much bigger now because it's in like a wolf suit or whatever. And like, it doesn't have claws or teeth or anything, but bites down and starts to pull. And the teacher's like, yo! Okay, I don't know if he's like, yo, but he's like, what? And like, the wolf girl pulls him in and starts, how like a dog has like a chew toy and like shakes its head really quickly to try and like, wrestle it around? The wolf girl starts like to shake her head, and remember, the teacher's like, half of the teacher's arm is in her like, her fake wolf stuffed head or whatever, and starts like being whipped around back and forth. And the teacher's like, stop it, Stacy, stop it. Let's pretend her name's Stacy. And the wolf girl's just like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, guys. I know you have questions. I don't have answers. I'm just the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger, okay? And the wolf girl's like, starts whipping his head around or whatever. And eventually, the teacher is able to break free or whatever, and is about to yell at the wolf girl. It's like, Stacy, what are you? And the wolf girl once again lunges out of her seat this time and like bites down on his leg. He's like, what are you doing? Like, pushes her off or whatever. Doesn't like destroy her with like a 360 karate chop to the face or something. But like pushes her off and is like, Stacy, like, this behavior is unacceptable. I need you to go to the front office now. Stacy goes on all fours, starts howling at him. There we go. He's like, oh. Dude. Why do I live? Just to suffer, bro. What is this story? Anyways, the teacher is just like, this was not covered in grad school. This was not part of the final exam of how to be a teacher, man. What do I do? And at this point, two other kids in the class were actually like they got up and they kind of like stood with the teacher. And they're like, Stacy, we need you to go to the front office. And Stacy's just barking at them like, pop, pop, pop. I don't know why the wolf was barking, but whatever. People get confused. And yeah, so sure enough, like the two kids stood up to kind of like make sure that she didn't like attack him again. And the teacher kind of like phoned the security to come down. And after an insanely tense 2 minutes of like the wolf girl running around barking or whatever, the security guards came in, kind of like escorted her out. And yeah, let's just say that the rest of the class was extremely awkward. Because the teacher tried to continue on like nothing just happened. However, a girl tried to eat him and started barking and howling at him. So it's not like nothing happened, because something definitely did happen. Something definitely did happen. And, yeah, let's just say that, when the wolf girl was allowed back in class like a week later, she was not allowed to wear her suit and wasn't even allowed to wear her tail because the front office is like, we're not going to let you do any of that stuff just because we think you might do that again. And she had to sit in like a very specific seat that was like you couldn't have one person in front or behind her, and she had to be in a certain part.
Okay, I don't know what is this, bro. Like, is there no X marks the spot, bro? Treasure map. No, not my treasure map. My treasure map. There's my treasure map. What the hell's wrong with me?
They didn't want, Stacy to eat one of the other. Okay, I gotta say it with a straight face. They didn't want Stacy to eat one of the other classmates in her wolf fursuit. There we go. That's the premise of the story. Moral of the story is, I don't really know. I just don't be the antagonist in these stories in real life, please. We're calling today's subscriber who submitted this story Brent. So this all happened when Brent was at soccer camp. And so Brent went to the soccer camp every single year. It just happened that this year he encountered the emo kid at soccer camp. So anyways, this was just another summer of Brent going to soccer camp. His mom dropped him off, and once again, he was pretty excited to go. Unfortunately, some of the friends he made from the year before, they didn't show up this time, so he was very proactive about finding people, meeting new people, and trying to make some new friends. So anyways, in the very beginning of soccer camp, they had kind of a get-to-know-other-people type deal, and all of a sudden, right, Brent sees this girl, and she was at kind of like the girls' soccer camp, so it was kind of split up like boys' soccer camp and girls' soccer camp. However, it was all under the same umbrella of like the soccer camp program, so they would eat lunch together, do non-soccer activities, but like the morning soccer practice.
Where is it though? I can't find it. I can't find the fucking map.
Brent saw this girl, Emily, and he immediately kind of fell in love with her. Not actually, but was like, oh,
Darn it.
she's cute. I'm gonna try and hit. He's like, I don't know. He's gone to soccer camp. He's not trying to hit, bro. That's crazy. But anyways, right, so she's going to be an important character later on. But for the meantime, we don't need to think about her. Because someone much more important comes into the picture. So while Brent is thinking about, like, oh my god, look at that girl over there. I got to start talking to her. That's crazy.
I have to explore a bit. Oh.
Into this guy. And he turns around. This guy is like, I don't know, a little bit bigger than him. A little bit heavier than him. Just like kind of a bigger guy. And he's got this like long black hair that's swooshed over. He's wearing like the standard soccer cleats, but otherwise it's like this black band heavy metal t-shirt. He's got like black painted nails. He's got like a spiky wristband on or whatever. And he turns around. He's like,
"Well, I have to explore." Alright then.
What did you bump into me, bro? And Brent's like, "Oh, my fault. Like, didn't mean to do that." He's like, You don't think that I'm an alpha? Is that what you think?" Brent's like, "What?" He's like, "I'm an alpha male, just in case you weren't aware," which I know that you subconsciously were, because, all betas instantly know when there's an alpha present. And Andrew was the guy from like 7 stories ago. Brent was like, what? He's like, "Bro, do you not know what beta males and alpha males are? Well, basically, beta males are like you and lame, and alpha males are strong, powerful, and dominant in the pack." And with that, like, the emo kid does a big, like, swipe of his big, long, black hair. So, like, his bangs would no longer cover his eyes. It immediately fell back in front of his face. He's like, Yeah, just so you know, kid, get out of my way. And the emo kid, like, shuffles away. And this was Brent's first interaction with the emo kid. So he's like, okay. That's cool, man. Like, okay. See you around, buddy. Bye-bye. So anyways, let's fast forward a little bit. After soccer practice in the morning, Brent was actually one of the better kids there. He was pretty good at soccer. They had lunch, and in the afternoon they had activities such as like this, like, I don't know, like tag, capture the flag, all kind of like random camp activities. And today was capture the flag, and Brent happened to be on the same team as Emily. So immediately he goes over there. He's like, "Hey, how's it going? Like, my name's Brent." Emily's like, "Hey, like, my name's Emily. Nice to meet you." And Brent and Emily immediately hit it off. They're having a good time. They're talking with each other. They're enjoying each other's company. You simply love to see it. And like from very far away, Brent catches the eye of the emo kid who's on the other team and is just staring him down for some reason. Brent doesn't really think much of it, and then he goes back to talking to Emily. So they're playing capture the flag right now, and Brent runs over to the other side, gets the flag, right, and starts running back to his side. If you don't know capture the flag, there's like this little penny on both sides, or like a little piece of cloth or something. And while you're on the opponent's side, if they tag you, you're in jail. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to run over there, grab their flag, and run back to your side without being tagged. However, there was a stipulation
Hell,
that it had to be a
new
tag.
message?
This isn't tackling.
What is
You
this?
can't push someone. You can't like punch them or anything. You have to tag them if they're on your side. So Brent is running over there. Sorry, I have a list of names in front of me from other stories. Brent is running over there. He grabs the enemy team's flag and is running back to his side. And he's really close when he just like immediately slams into the ground. And that's when he realizes that there's a big guy on top of him. And that's when
What
he
the
realizes
fuck, man?
that the emo kid
Yeah.
tackled him.
Just
The
gotta
emo kid's
check
like,
clay, bro.
"Nice try, buddy.
Goddamn.
Next time, try not to fight the alpha males." And then camp counselor comes over and says, hey, we said no tackling. You're on the sidelines. Points to the emo kid. He's disqualified or whatever, has to sit on the sidelines. Ooh, so alpha, man. But anyways, right, so the penny's returned, but also Brent isn't in, like, jail. He goes back to the other side. And the emo kid has to sit out for the rest of Capture the Flag. And Brent continues to talk to Emily, and the entire time, the emo kid is just, like, looking over, and he's like all angrily staring at Brent. So Brent is now his official enemy. Brent kind of just assumed that they were enemies because of when he bumped into him and also when he got him disqualified, which, did Brent really get him disqualified, or was it because he's an idiot and jumped on him? That's why he got disqualified? Who knows, man. But there was another reason why the emo kid hated Brent. There was another reason that Brent did not realize at the moment, but was very, very, very potent, and it's gonna be very, very important for later on in the story. I'm gonna give you guys a hint. It starts with an E and ends with a mly. Did you guys get it? Starts with an E and ends with a mly. Emily? I'm just gonna tell you, yeah, it's Emily, the girl. So emo kid likes her. Anyways, so Brent and Emily talk for the rest of that Capture the Flag game. The entire time the emo kid is staring Brent down.
Well, if I don't get any treasure, it's fine. I can mine.
But let me just say that the next week of soccer camp was the craziest week that Brent has ever had. So anyways, right, his mom picks him up. He goes back home. His mom's like, hey, how was the first day? And Brent says, oh, I met this really weird kid who tackled me. And she's like, oh my God, are you okay? He's like, yeah, actually, I barely any scrapes on me even. But he seems to not like me, so I'll keep you updated on that. So Brent is dropped off the next day. And he walks over there. And that's when the emo kid, is just staring him down. And, Brent is kind of walking over, because there's a little bit of like a 5, 10, 15-minute period where the kids are just standing around talking with each other, waiting for them all to be dropped off, and then the soccer camp officials or camp counselors would then split them up into groups, do soccer drills, play games, whatever, standard kind of affair. And he's just kind of waiting around, and that's when the emo kid comes up to him and says, so you're challenging my authority as the alpha man? And Brent is kind of just like, what? He's like, I'll say it again, just in case your little beta ears couldn't hear me. So you're challenging my authority that I am the alpha male of the pack. If we were wolves, which we kind of are, and Brent was like, what? If we were wolves, as we kind of are, as I said, I would be the alpha male, alpha wolf, and you would be the beta wolf, and I would be banging your wife while you watch Little Cut Beta Wolf. Whoa. And Brent is looking at this kid, and this kid is like, no offense, but this kid is like the opposite of what a stereotypical alpha male would look like, right? One of those red-pilled alpha males. This
What
looks
lunch?
the complete opposite of that. But anyways,
But it's our
Brent's
own
not gonna
food.
get to like a, you know, he's not gonna
Like
what is there to
a
rebuttal?
family of
Everything,
ramen that has
man, like, this kid has no
vegetable
argument. But
and
anyways,
soup.
Brent's like,
No.
okay.
No?
No
And
thanks.
the
You
emo
don't
kid's
like that one?
No.
well, you say
So you will
okay,
eat
but
in
remember
that,
yesterday when you got me
overnight
kicked
na
out of the game, which you obviously
You drink
tipped off the
water, huh?
ref? And Brent's like, bro, you tackled me. It's very clearly stated in the rule books that you're not allowed to tackle anyone. How is this on me? He's like, dude, it was so clearly on you because the ref understood that I was the alpha male and I was simply asserting my dominance, bro. And, you know, Brent's just like, dude, the frick are you talking about, dude?
Oh my god. I can't find the
beat him off
treasure,
with what?
alright?
A
I can't
$5
find any
allowance I
treasure
get a
here.
week with
I have to find
my
everything,
used
bro, so I can
smelly,
ascend.
stinky socks? What do I have? And he's like, I don't know,
Like,
man.
it would take forever,
Man,
bro.
I
Jesus
don't know.
Christ,
Maybe he
man.
took his daughter on a date because his daughter's so ugly she'd never get a date. Oh. Brent's like, was that a diss? Like, does he even have a daughter? He's like 20, bro. What? And the emo kid's like, anyways, I just wanted to let you know that I'm the alpha man. You're the beta man. I will do your wife when you have one. And scene. And the emo kid walks away. And Brent at this point is like, what? Why? Why is this my life? Anyway, so skip forward to the soccer practice. They're put into groups, and the emo kid was in Group B earlier, so they basically split them up into Group A and Group B. So the Group A is the better players, and Group B is the crap. I'm just kidding. The players who are newer to soccer. And the emo kid apparently was on the cusp of Group A. It was at the very top of Group B, and because his performance was good enough, he was actually moved up to Group A. So now Brent, instead of having a morning to himself to focus on soccer, now had to deal with the emo kid being, thrown into the mix here. So anyways, they're doing some drills with the soccer ball, and they're kind of like kicking them
Damn
around.
closer because I see my
to
eye
kind of keep
picture, bro.
control of the ball while you were running. And the emo kid, like they said, okay, line up into 3 groups, and the emo kid immediately ran behind Brent. And Brent kind of looks behind him. He's like, what? And the emo kid said, nothing, Brent. Just letting you know that I'm the alpha male here. And Brent's like, okay, fine. Let's just do the drill. So the ref blows the whistle. Brent starts kicking the ball and moving with it. And the emo kid immediately runs up behind him and trips him. He's like, oh, sorry. And the ref's like, hey. And the emo kid's like, it was an accident, I swear. And the ref's like, all right, be careful. Brent started to get really angry because, if you get an injury in soccer, especially if you get a foot injury, he could be out for the entire week. I mean, this is one of his favorite camps that he has every single summer. He loves going to it. It's one of his favorite things to do. And this emo kid, for the second time in the last 24 hours, has has gotten really close to causing him a pretty big injury. He could have jumped. He jumped on him yesterday. He ran behind him, knocking him over. What if he twisted an ankle? What if he, fractured something in his leg? It's not that hard, especially when you got a big old kid jumping on top of you every 5 minutes. It's difficult. It's not that difficult, man. So anyways, Brent, for the next activity, waits to get into line before the emo kid does, because he doesn't want to be in the same line as the emo kid. But it turns out that, everyone else lines up, and it's literally just Brent and the emo kid waiting for each other to move, because the Brent wants to go where the emo kid doesn't go, and the emo kid wants to go where Brent goes. And the refs or not the refs, but the soccer coaches are like, come on, kind of guys, get into line. And Brent's like, okay. And he sprints to the end of the line, and then the emo kid sprints to the back of that line. And the coach is like, emo kid, says his actual name, can you go to another line? That line's too long. And the emo kid's like, okay, moves over one line, and when the coach turns his head, the emo kid literally runs back into the line with Brent again. So when the coach turns around, he's like, wait, emo kid, I said, could you go to that line? And he's like, fine. Emo kid eventually goes to that line, actually does that. So for the rest of the soccer practice, the emo kid tried to bump into Brent, tried to make his life difficult. Basically was just being a big butt the entire time. But thankfully, that nothing really happened. He didn't bump into Brent successfully again. In fact, the emo kid, most of the time when he tried to bump into Brent would do some like very slick soccer move, kind of like break his ankles, not literally, but you know what I mean. And the emo kid would like fall flat on his face because he kind of like tried to run into Brent, and then Brent sidestepped him and completely swerved out of his way. Anyways, though, things start to get a little bit more interesting because throughout the next day, Brent and Emily are talking it up. It's very like, it's kind of like the known thing for the camp that like those two were kind of like the unofficial soccer camp couple. I don't know if your camps had stuff like that, but this was true for the soccer camp. And word was that like the two of them, they were gonna kiss soon. Oh my god, guys, isn't that like 12th base or something? So sure enough, right, one of these days, so like a day later, Emily and Brent are just sitting with each other at lunch. They're kind of on like a quote-unquote date or whatever. And that's when a girl comes over and sits next to them. And Emily's like, oh, this is my friend Robin. And Robin's like, hey guys, like, I just want to let you know, Emily, that the kid over there, and points to the emo kid, is planning to ask you out soon. And Emily's like, dude, I don't know that kid. I've never spoken to him in my life. And Brent's like, oh my god, I know exactly who that kid is. Emily's like, what? And Brent basically tells her the story that I told you guys for the last 13 minutes. And she's like, oh my god, he's the worst. And Brent's like, well, that would explain why he really hates me, too. Because, like, not just that I embarrassed him, but I've been hanging out with you the entire time. And, you know, he probably knows that we've been talking a lot. And Emily laughs a little bit. And this is when Robin says, dude, like, I'm serious. This kid is going to come over and ask you out within, like, the next 24 hours. He's going to do it publicly. It's going to be really embarrassing. Everyone's told him not to do it, but he's in his own world. You gotta let him down nicely, though. And, you know, Brent was like, no mercy. Make him suffer. Emily's like, Brent, I'm not gonna make him suffer. I don't know this kid. Brent's like, make him suffer. Emily's like, shh. Okay, I'm gonna be nice. When he comes over, I'm gonna be firm. I'm gonna be direct, but I'm gonna be nice about it. I'm gonna be cordial, and life is gonna go back to what it was before. So sure enough, right, Brent now realizes that the emo kid has a massive crush on Emily. And Brent also starts to think about it. When Emily says no to him, and when she starts really, you know, hanging out with me more, and when word gets around that we kiss, because we totally are, this is in Brent's head, right, he's gonna actually, like, ramp up the craziness even more than it already is. I think I'm screwed, boys. Real quick, if you made it this far into the video, comment emo down below. I'm gonna heart as many comments as I can that say that. That is the secret word of the day. And also, if you want to support the channel and help boost me back into the algorithm, all you gotta do is, at some point, maybe after this video, maybe later, sit down and watch a bunch of my videos in a row. Maybe while you're playing video games, or drawing, or cleaning your room, or maybe to help you go to sleep. I take that as a compliment now. I understand it. Leave in the comment section down below how you're helping boost the channel. I will heart it. I will say thank you, and I'll even shout some people out.
I think Jason 2's left, bro. He left, or he died, bro. I don't know.
Really help boost the channel.
I don't understand how they fucking get here. Oh, fuck.
So anyways, flash forward to that night, or not that night, but that afternoon. Remember when this is the mixed gender, just fun, more camp activities? They're playing dodgeball. And sure enough, you know, the emo kid and Brent actually happen to be on the same team this time. So, like, emo kid and Brent, they're picking up the dodgeballs, they're throwing them, you know, they're trying to avoid being hit by the dodgeballs. And the emo kid walks over and is like, sup, bro? Brent's like, what? Emo kid's like, I just want to let you know that, like, I know that you and Emily, or you have been trying to flirt with Emily, and it's been failing horribly from my sources, at least that's what my sources said. And I just want to let you know that, you know, I let you have your fun. I let you play like the little beta, little lamb you are. But I'm actually going to come in and, as the alpha male, assert my dominance and claim what is mine. Emily shall be my girlfriend by the end of tomorrow. Mark my words, and I will watch as little tears roll down your face because you're so sad that I took your girl. Oh, little Brent, I'm so sorry. Brent's like, dude, she's not gonna. I've talked to her. She's gonna say no. Like, don't do it. I hate you, but I know for a fact that you're gonna get rejected. And in front of everyone. The emo kid's like, nice try, little boy. I know for a fact that my testosterone is 10 trillion and yours is 0. So based on that alone, plus a billion other factors, such as my manliness, my alpha maleness, my swag, overall levels, and a billion more things. Just, she will obviously say yes to me. And even if you two are fake dating, she'll break up with you immediately to say yes to me. I just know some things that you don't know, Brent. Get over it. So the emo kid walks away. Brent's like, well, my conscience is clear. Because I tried to warn the kid not to do it. I tried to warn the kid, right? I'm not a bad guy. I told him not to do it. I told him. I said, I even gave him the benefit of the doubt. I said, I don't like you, but I want to help you here. He didn't listen to me. It's not my fault, whatever happens tomorrow.
What's going on?
Next day rolls around. At soccer practice, the emo kid for the entire morning is like, Brent, better spend the last moments with Emily as you can because she's about to be my girlfriend. Oh, and Brent's like, dude, shut up, dude. He's like, oh my god, am I getting to you, man? Am I getting to you, man? Oh, man, it was so easy to break your thin, weak beta skin. Oh my god, my words are hurting you so much. I'm gonna lick up your little salty tears. They're so tasty and so good. And Brent's like, shut up, bro. You're gonna get embarrassed. I can't wait for the moment. She better go hard. Anyways, flash forward to lunch. The moment. So anyways, Brent is sitting with Emily, and Emily's like, dude, the emo kid, I can't see him anywhere. And Brent's like, dude, he's gonna ask you out. It's happening. Get over it. It's gonna happen any second. She's like, he's gonna do it the next day, which means probably now in front of everyone. And, Brent's like, that's what he said he would do. And Brent was like, oh my god, don't turn around. Because Brent was looking, and the emo kid was walking over. And what was he walking over with? He was walking over with a boom box. You already know where this is going. And Brent's like, you know what? Brace yourself. Try and have an out-of-body experience right now so you don't have to deal with what's about to happen. This is about to be bad, Emily. I'm so sorry. And Emily's like, oh my god. And that's when you start to hear music. It's the emo kid's personal band. So it's like this heavy metal rock band. So just imagine some like heavy metal rock going in the background. And the lyrics are, Emily, Emily, why do you hang with losers like Brent? Emily, please love me. Yeah. And it's just kind of like more stuff like that in the background. And the emo kid is like rocking out by himself with an air guitar while this is all going on. It is the worst moment of Brent's life because the second-hand embarrassment is so strong, he's basically getting first-hand embarrassment from the whole thing. Everyone has stopped eating and turned around, including the camp counselors. They're just watching this kid bounce around with an air guitar with his like super long black bangs flying all around the place as this boombox plays one of the crappiest songs they've ever heard, terribly mixed, the worst lyrics, basically saying that Brent sucks and that she should be in love with him, and he's bouncing around, and then after 5 whole excruciating minutes, and everyone at this point is laughing and trying to hold themselves together, after 5 whole long excruciating minutes of the worst music ever and some like really bad air guitar and bouncing around, the song stops and the emo kid says, Emily, it is clear who you shall choose. What is your verdict? And Emily's like, I'm sorry, I don't know you. I'm not going out with you. Emo kid's like, that's hilarious. What's your actual verdict? Emily's like, dude, I don't know you. He's like, dude, that's hilarious. What's your actual verdict? Brent's like, all right, man, that's enough. Let's concede while we're behind. The emo kid looks at Brent and says, this isn't over, man. And he walks away with his boombox. And Brent's like, why did he say that to me? I didn't dump him. And Emily's like, dude, that was worse than I could have ever imagined. And right, so Robin, the friend who warned them, came over again and said, look, I should have warned you about that. I didn't think it was real. I didn't even think that was actually going to happen. I was told earlier this morning, and I laughed. I'm so sorry. I should take anything that you hear about this kid seriously from this point on, because oh my god. And Emily's like, wait. Oh no, we still have an activity tonight, this afternoon. And Brent's like, oh my god. He said this isn't over. And sure enough, it was far from over. So they get to the activity that afternoon. So it was probably the worst possible activity that it could have been, because it was small groups of charades. They kind of ran out. They had something else planned, but since it started to rain, they had to go inside. So they're like, all right, we're going to break you off into small groups of 3, and we're going to have you play charades with each other. And at this point, like, they're like, okay, what are the odds? Brent's like, what are the odds that I'm put with? And the person says, Brent, Emily, and Emo Kid. And Brent's like, you gotta be joking, man. You gotta be joking. Apparently, right, Robin tells him this, like, later on, like, once the camp is over. Apparently because she was talking with one of the camp counselors about everything that went down. The camp counselor said that, like, once, like, it started to rain, the Emo Kid went up to them and asked what they were doing. Camp counselor said, oh, we're doing small groups of charades. And the Emo Kid requested that his 2 best friends and him were put together in a group. So it wasn't just random, it was the Emo Kid. But Brent didn't know that at the time. So Brent looks at Emily, and Emily looks at Brent. And they're both basically just like, oh boy. And then they both look at the Emo Kid.
I didn't find any treasure. I don't know why. I'm back, but no, I didn't find shit, man.
Like, Emily, I might have came on too strong. And she's like, well, that's an understatement. But he's like, I will show you the truth. Brent, I challenge you to an alpha battle. Brent's just like, what's an alpha battle? Ha! You're such a beta for not knowing what an alpha battle is. Beta. He's like, an alpha battle will be proof that I am alpha and you are a weak beta. And then Emily will choose me, and Emily's like, I'm not. And he's like, wait, your heart will tell you otherwise after the alpha battle. Emily's like, okay, I'm still not going to. She's like, God, stop, silence, woman. And Brent was like, whoa, chill out, dude. He's like, you silence too? We're having an alpha battle right now. So, right, this just kind of looks like they're doing really weird charades from afar, but the Emo Kid is like, all right, let's form our best wolf poses. Brent's like, what? He said, form your best wolf poses! Now!
Okay.
Brent's like,
okay, what the fuck did I do here, man?
Emo Kid's like, that is the worst wolf pose I've ever seen. You were definitely not part wolf like I am. And the Emo Kid does this really weird pose. He's like, oh my god, I'm wolfing so hard right now. This is the most emo thing. I mean, the most alpha thing I've ever done. Oh my god. At this point, Emily's like, guys, you are both embarrassing yourselves. Emo Kid is like, no, you will see that I'm the most alpha. I swear. Emo Kid's like, all right, let's do it. Wrestle me. And, Brent's like, what? Emo Kid jumps on top of him, just tackles him to the ground. He's like 20 pounds heavier, right, and a little bit taller. And Brent was completely taken off guard. He's like, bro, stop. What are you doing? And the Emo Kid's like, I'm out alphaing you. And that's when the camp counselor comes over and says, all right, guys, break it up. Tears the 2 of them apart. He's like, all right.
Henry!
So
Henry, be your back.
Minutes,
Henry,
like,
motherfucker.
Can't keep
Yo,
off of each
yo,
other,
you're my childhood
so
friend,
I'm
bro.
gonna be joining your group.
You're back. You're
It's
back.
Emily, Brent, the Emo Kid, and a random camp counselor. So they do normal charades, right? And the entire time, the Emo Kid is like sneaking in punches to Brent's arm. He's like, ow. And when the camp counselor looks up, the Emo Kid puts his arms behind his back. And the Emo Kid's like, this isn't over, man. And then the Emo Kid walks over to Emily. He's like, Emily. Emily's like, what? Do you think I'm more alpha? Shut up, kid. Emo Kid's like, no. Okay, I'll just be direct. Do you want to go out with me? No! And the camp counselor was like, guys, silence while I'm doing charades. And Emily's like, dude, I don't want to go out with you. How many times do I need to tell you this? Emo Kid's like, but I'm definitely more alpha. She's like, that's not a real thing. So the next day rolls around. It's Thursday, and that afternoon, there's no real activity. It's just known as, like, the soccer dance or whatever. And during the soccer dance, there's one coveted slow song where anyone who has feelings for each other might ask for, like, a slow song or something. And sure enough, let's just jump to the dance, because the Emo Kid is, like, being a jerk to Brent all day, but that's not anything new. And sure enough, it is the dance. And they're putting on normal songs, and Emily and Robin and Brent are all together, like, dude, and Robin's like, dude, the Emo Kid is definitely gonna try and get that slow song with you. Like, Brent, you gotta swoop in right away, because at this point, Brent and Emily were, like, unofficially a thing. They're only at camp for a week, so they're not gonna make, like, a long-term relationship. Let's have kids, baby! Okay, you know what I mean. But sure enough, the slow song comes on, And Brent's like, oh my god. And Emily's like, quickly. And you can see the emo kid sprinting from the other side of the room. So Emily and Brent quickly like get together in the slow song, kind of like whatever. And Emily's standing there, and she feels Brent being ripped off of him. And the emo kid grabs Brent, rips him off Emily, and tackles him on the ground. And this is what the camp counselors are like, oh, okay, foul play, foul play. They go in, they grab the emo kid, and they like run a, like, they take him off. They're like, all right, buddy, this is like your third strike, and you are out. So they call up the parents of the emo kid. They say, your son can't come tomorrow. He's like fighting this one kid again and again, and he won't stop. And so sure enough, the emo kid was picked up, taken away, and Brent and Emily finished off with a slow song together. The next day rolls around. It is Friday. It is only a half day where basically the parents come and watch a little like soccer presentation that all the kids have done. And by the end of it, right, you know, most people are packing up. Brent and Emily are gone. And you remember the friend Robin from the beginning? One of the camp counselors and Robin.
Yeah, I have to do like
whatever,
this. Like,
or,
I can show a lot of things.
Like, do you happen
Yeah,
to know about that
right
like
in.
emo
So
looking
yeah,
kid? Like, do you happen to know
sheep
what was up with him?
and
Let's call the first
sheep,
subscriber who submitted the story. Hank.
sheep,
By the way, all these episodes are
and
on
yeah,
Spotify, and they normally come out a couple hours
cow,
early on Spotify, so make sure to check
and,
that out. First link in the
and
description.
cow.
Anyways, back to the story. So we're gonna call the first subscriber who submitted the story
One,
Hank.
two.
And anyways, this all happened when Hank was shopping
You're
at the mall. So Hank used
son
to
of a
should go
bitch,
to the mall
man.
to
You're
shop
so.
with his friends. You know,
Jeez, chill, boy, chill.
they didn't really have
Right?
a lot of other places that they
Chill.
could go in the town that they lived in, so the mall was probably their best bet. And sure
No,
enough,
please.
one of these days,
Don't-
one of Hank's
don't-
friends
please
wanted
leave me
to
alone.
shop at this place called Hot Topic. If you don't know Hot Topic,
Hell, who the
it's a place
fuck
where they
could
have a
let
lot
Henry
of
out, boy?
t-shirts and other kind of apparel that is very...
You're gonna die, Henry. I know.
I don't know, like fast fashion-y, brand-centric. Like, it's very much like... You'll have a lot of different brands, or kind of like... You'll find a lot of band t-shirts, a lot of kind of like... Okay, so a lot of different stuff's at Hot Topic, but one kind of theme of clothing that you'll see at Hot Topic is emo style clothing, if that makes sense. So like really black clothing, edgy clothing, stuff like that. Just so you know, like, I have nothing against it. If you dress like that, I think it's a cool enough style. I think you're fine if you, even if you identify as like, oh, I'm emo in the way I dress or act or whatever. I don't really care. Live your life. However, as long as you don't act like the kids in these videos, especially this one, you're chill with me. But anyways, Hank just was like, okay, man, like, you want to go to Hot Topic, that's fine. Hank hadn't really been in that much, so he didn't really know what to expect. So Hank was walking into, you know, the Hot Topic, and he was looking around, and there's a whole host of people, and Hank's friend was like, all right, man, like, I'm gonna go to the back of the room, I know what I want, I'm gonna go to their skateboard section, you can kind of just wander around here, I'll be out when I'm done. So Hank was totally fine with this, and Hank kind of like was wandering around, and he walked over to one of the t-shirt aisles, or one of the t-shirt rack aisles, and that's when he accidentally bumped into this kid. And this kid turns around. And just to paint the picture, this kid has super long black hair. He's got like black mascara on, black lipstick. He's got black painted nails. He's got a spiky collar. He's got like a black band t-shirt. He's got like long black jeans, and then those like big black stomper boots. I don't know if you know what I know, like if you know what I mean, but like those big, kind of like those big rubber black boots that are pretty popular right now. And he turns
I think they're
around
useful
and
for
he's like,
snowballs.
"Dude,
Yeah, for
what the
snowballs
heck,
actually.
bro?"
Like I can make
Hank's
another
like,
snow
"Ah, my
golem.
fault. Like, I didn't mean to bump into you like that.
But I like
I
snow
was
golems, bro. They're
around and
awesome.
wasn't paying attention." And the emo kid's like, "Dude, you're like, shut up, bro." Hank's kind of just looking at him like, I don't really know what you mean. Like, I didn't do anything. Like, are you good? And the emo kid's like, "Bro, like, I don't need to hear that sass from you, bro. Like, I really just don't need to hear that." And Hank's just once again like, "Dude, I don't know what you're saying. Like, I'm sorry. I'll just go the other way." And Hank kind of turns around to de-escalate because he doesn't feel like, you know, escalating anything. It's just not a good idea to get into fights like that. And that's when the emo kid's like, yeah, you would run. You're dressed like one of those jocks anyways. Which, like, Hank kind of turned around because he didn't know what that even means. First of all, I mean, isn't jock a positive thing? Like, I get that there's a bit of a negative connotation of, like, oh, you're a dumb jock or something. But I would have thought that, like, jock would have meant, like, oh, you're an athlete, which isn't that a good thing? Like, I'm kind of confused right now. Is that not a good thing, you know? And Hank, you know, kind of turns back. He's like, dude, like, why? Like, why are you, like, making a problem with me? I don't have a problem with you. Like you're kind of the one that's making this into something, because Hank really did believe like I'm not the one doing anything. It's like 100% this guy who's making it something, you know. And the kid's just like, well, like you're just looking like a dumb jock. Isn't that right, guys? And he turns around and there's two other emo kids. And they look very similar to the main emo kid, but they kind of just, they're dressed slightly different, but really, I mean, it's funny how like I saw this on South Park, but it's funny how like non-conformists all dress the same. I'm just like, well, I mean, you are conforming to something, but anyways, right? So the other two kids, the other emo kids, are kind of there along.
So what's the best way? Is it a crossbow? Like, how do you make a crossbow, right? So you can make a crossbow with
what they think, except he's got three kids.
For Christ's sake, man.
Pointing at him, laughing in
Alright,
his face when Hank
over
was
here.
deserving. Like Hank was thinking like, look, if I deserve this, if I was being like an absolute like, if I was being a jerk to them, or for some reason I actually did something, sure, maybe I deserve this. But Hank's just thinking to himself like, dude, I don't deserve this. I was literally just chilling here. I actually bumped into this kid. Like, I'm sorry about that. Like, my fault. Once again, my fault. But that's when Hank turned the tables on the emo kid. And the thing is, right, the emo kid was wearing a band t-shirt. And the thing about
No, I think crossbow's worth it more. I don't know.
Okay, you don't
Like,
necessarily
I have a bow, but yeah.
like if you wear
Well, I need
t-shirt
chickens
that's
though.
from
Yeah, I need
Starbucks,
chickens.
someone's like, okay, well then name all
Are you the same guy?
of like cappuccino you can get. It doesn't have to be like that. But the thing is, a lot of people wear band t-shirts because the band t-shirts look sick, and they don't know any of the songs from the band, which I guess is fine. But like at the end of the day, a lot of people will kind of pretend to know it and not actually know it. So Hank was like, well, screw it, bro. He's like, all right, buddy. And he looks at the main emo kid, and the main emo kid looks at him back. He's like, all right, buddy, name me 3 songs from that band. And he points to the emo kid's t-shirt, and I don't know, maybe it's like Nirvana or something, like one of those kind of like t-shirts or whatever. Which, and the emo kid looks at him, and he has this kind of look of shock, this look of, oh my god, like you caught me, kind of the look of like, man got caught in a trap right here type of look. The emo kid's kind of just like, how about you name me 3 songs from this band, bro? And the emo kid turns to look back at his emo kid friends as kind of like, oh, what's their reaction to that sick burn? And they kind of just look at it blankly.
Not,
And the emo kid was kind of
not,
like,
I'll do this nighttime and go fuck it if you die. I don't know.
he'd be like, oh yeah, wasn't that a
I already
crazy
give up
burn?
the
I totally
punt.
got
I don't
them.
know why the
But
fuck.
his friends look back at him kind of just like,
Oh my god.
like, I don't know how to break it to you, but you didn't get him. So the emo kid turns back around. He's like, I don't need to I don't need to do anything you say, bro. I'm not gonna conform to your standards. And then the 2 emo kids were like, yeah, that's right on, bro. You're so right. And they like dap him up. And Hank at this point he's just so done. He's just like, bro, because he realizes, like, Hank's like, you know what? I'm not gonna fight with these kids. These kids are obviously a lost cause. This is not worth my time. So Hank gets up, he turns around, and he kind of says like, whatever, man, like, go live your life. Hank turns around, starts to walk away, and that's when he feels a tug on his pants. And he turns around and he sees the emo kid failing to pull down his pants. So basically, the emo kid couldn't wanted to he couldn't let Hank just leave by himself. Like he couldn't let him just do that. So when Hank turned around and started to walk away, the emo kid went to jump and try and pull down his pants to pants him, to embarrass him, to impress his emo kid friends and be like, oh my god, I totally owned him, dude. So at this point, Hank is like, dude, stop pulling down my pants, bro. And the emo kid's like, oh, sorry, I just slipped. And he's like, his emo kid friends laugh along as well. At this point, Hank's getting really...
You wanna live here, bro?
Sorry, bro, I'm not into you like that. And he's like, what? He's like, yeah, you're trying to pull down my pants, so you're telling me you're not trying to get a peek? And the emo kid's like, dude, it's not like that. I was trying to pants you. And then,
Man, Jason's immortal, bro. Oh my god.
Did you really want to see my bare bottom?
You gotta die.
And at this point, the other
Dude,
2 emo kids
dude, the hell,
start
boy.
laughing a little bit. And the emo
Damn it. Alright, I'm gonna sacrifice you.
Stop laughing, it's not funny.
I'm gonna sacrifice you, sorry.
Dude, you don't know what you just did. The emo kid walks up to Hank with his chest puffed out. He's like, bro, you literally don't know what you just did. you don't know who you're messing with. Okay, I don't know if he started to tear up or anything, but at the exact same time,
Man, Jason is back. Like, you keep coming here like you're immoral or some shit, man. Jason 4. Jason 4 is back. I don't know. I don't have a fucking packer.
So the mall cop outside kind of slows down walking and looks inside. And sure enough, right,
Like,
Hank is
I
like,
can't
hey,
keep this
look,
guy. I
I'm
don't
not
know
looking
why.
for any trouble. The emo kid's like, yeah, that's what I thought. You're freaking scared, bro. Don't tell me otherwise. You're freaking scared. And at this point, Hank's like, dude, I'm not scared. It's not like that. I just don't want any trouble. Like, you're not worth my time. And he's like, I am worth your time. I'm worth all of your time plus some because I'm worth more than you, dude. You don't know who you're messing with. At this point, right, the emo kid was really kind of just showing his true colors and being like, yeah, I mean, kid's insecure. That's fair enough. He's trying to act all tough in front of his friends. So once again, Hank's like, he turns around and he's like, all right, man. He's like, dude, I'm just not doing this. Once again, have a good life. Hank turns around, and as Hank's turning around, the emo kid is like, in his head, he's like, I can't let this slide. So the emo kid literally raises up his hand and swings on Hank. Real quick, if you made it this far into the video, go ahead and comment emo down below. I just want to see how many people made it to the end of this video, as I do appreciate you guys. Best way to support the channel, as always.
To all the motherfucking llama, I don't know. Just try to.
The more we get promoted in the algorithm.
Okay, I have this one here. Gray wool. Some gray wool here. Yes.
Just all these episodes are on
Motherfucking gray wool.
It's in the description, the first link.
Yes.
Please rate us 5 stars when you have a chance. If you want to submit these stories, and please do.
I own you now.
Make these videos.
Hell yeah.
Or Twitter. They're both in the description, but they're also at Connor Pugs. I got a Discord server, link in the description. Code Connor Pugs for 10% off gamer subs. Let's get back to the story. So Hank, remember, he turns around and Hank's like, dude, I'm not going to deal with you like that. It's just not worth my time. So Hank turns around and the emo kid, who's like, I can't let Hank, like, one-up me. Like, I can't let this random kid, like, kind of, like, alpha me in front of my emo kid friends or whatever. So as Hank turns around, the emo kid swings on him, takes his fist. The thing is, though, the emo kid's not like a trained, I don't know, fighter or boxer or something. So obviously the emo kid doesn't make contact with Hank. Instead of making contact with Hank, the emo kid nearly misses Hank, and his like right hook goes right through a rack of clothes. The emo kid was really putting his full force into this too, because once the emo kid misses and whiffs on Hank, the emo kid flies forward into the rack of clothes. So he basically like pushes himself into a rack of clothes, fails to swing on him. The mall cop, however, did see the emo kid try and swing on Hank, so he walks in there. Hank turns around, and he sees the emo kid on the floor in a pile of clothes, and he's just so confused on what happened.
I hope you don't die, man. You keep dying on me, bro.
To see a mall cop standing in front of him. So Hank's really confused at this moment. He's like, okay, 1 second ago, I turned away from the emo kid, and a second later, the emo kid is sitting, like, face first in a pile of clothes, and a mall cop is standing above me. Like, this literally makes no sense. And sure enough, the mall cop's like, hey, hold up, everyone, I gotta talk to you guys. And the two emo kids, like, from the back, like, they get scared, and they literally...
Man, Henry's so sensitive. Like, I can't kill...
But also, the mall cop didn't really care that much, because the two people that
like,
he really wanted to talk to...
Like, I gotta be careful. Like, there's some stuff here.
So the emo
We can
kid
get
gets
over
up,
here.
he's, like, kind of panting a little bit, he's like... And the mall cop's like, hey, I saw you swing on this kid. I know you didn't make contact, but you did try and swing on this kid. It's 100%. Like, what's going on here? The emo kid's like, dude, I was just defending myself. And at this point, Hank's like, that's not the case. Like, this kid and I were kind of talking back and forth.
Cheerful day,
I
yes.
pulled down my pants. I made fun of him for doing that. I turned around. He tried to swing at me. At this point, right, the mall cop kind of witnessed the last 60% of this altercation. So he knows for a fact that he saw the emo kid try and pull down the pants and then have an argument. So the emo kid says, well, after I pulled down his pants, this kid tried to swing on me and I just defended myself. And the thing is, right, that was a mistake for the emo kid because the mall cop had been watching the whole thing. So the mall cop knew for a fact that wasn't the case of what happened. So the mall cop goes on to say, like, dude, I know for a fact that's not what happened. I saw you guys kind of like bickering in the store, and I wanted to make sure that we had no like nonsense going on. Obviously, some nonsense did go on, and I watched the whole thing. I saw you try and pull down this kid's pants. He did not swing on you. I don't know what he said to you that offended you or anything, but it's very clearly that you're the aggressor here, and like I can't have that. So he's like, hey, I'm gonna need you to come with me. And the emo kid's like, all right, buddy, go ahead with him. And the emo kid is like looking at Hank and kind of giving him this look of like, come on, bud, like go ahead. He's asking for you. When in truth, the mall cop is not asking for Hank. The mall cop is asking for the emo kid. So the mall cop's like, sorry, man, you must be mistaken. I'm not asking for this guy over here, pointing to Hank. He's like, I'm asking.
Yeah, I might play Genshin to have explored for a bit because I'm so
absolutely stunned by this
I don't know what to do in this game, bro. I've been roaming around. I don't know what the fuck I've been doing, bro.
The emo kid is standing there. Is just like,
yeah, I gotta upload this shit again. I don't know.
You must have some kind of mistake or something. Like, you can't be talking about me. That's insane. Like, there's no way. Like, what do you mean? Hanks is looking at the emo kid with this bit of a smirk. The mall cop is kind of like, come on, bud. Like, we don't want to have any trouble here. Make this nice and easy for all of us. Just come along with me. And, at this point, the emo kid is looking at Hank and kind of just giving him this look of like, this isn't over, buddy. This isn't over. And Hank is kind of just like, wow, this, like, a lot just went down in the last 5 minutes, Because this was, like, no longer than, like, 10 minutes of an altercation. And as soon as the mall cop basically drags the emo kid away, his friend comes rushing up to him. And he's like, dude, like, I just checked out the thing I was getting. And in his hand, he had this, like, skateboard thing or whatever. He's like, dude, I just saw, like, a
yes.
cop over here.
Come here.
I saw some kid getting dragged out.
Thank you. Thank you for this one. Thank you for this one. You just go here. I don't know.
Like, did I happen to see what happened? He's like, buddy, I lived what happened. Okay, so we're going to call the subscriber for the next story Bobby. I got a little King the Hill theme going on with these names because I got Bobby and Hank. You know, and you're cool. Anyways, so Bobby was like hanging out at home one day, and one of his friends hits him up. And Bobby, doesn't see this friend this often because they happen to be going to 2 different schools. Even though they live relatively in the same area, they're both in high school. They're both seniors in high school. So Bobby's friend, who we're going to call Ben, actually happens to have a car at this point. And Bobby's friend Ben hits up Bobby one day, and Bobby's just chilling at home, and he gets a text from Ben saying, "Hey, you want to like hang out today?" And Bobby is feeling kind of lazy, so he's like, maybe. Like, what do you want to do? His friend's like, dude, I want to go to the skate park. And Bobby, in his head, he's like, I don't know if I want to go. Like, this is, I don't know. I don't know, man. I really don't know. And Bobby should have stayed home that day based on what was about to go down, but he didn't because he wanted to see his friend Ben, and he was like, wait, what else am I going to do today? Watch Netflix? I know for a fact by the end of the day, if I'm just sitting here watching Netflix,
smart. My trader is fucking smart, bro. He always leaves me, bro. He always left. Yeah, now you're gone.
I don't know, an hour later, pulls up to Bobby's house and says, hey man, get in. And Bobby shows up to the window. He's like, hey, what's up, Ben? Haven't seen you in forever. Just so you know, I don't have a skateboard, so you're aware. And Ben's like, dude, I got 2 in the back. Don't worry about that. I got you. So sure enough, Ben hops into the car with Bobby, and they drive. Or Bobby hops into the car with Ben. They drive over to the skate park, which is like 15 minutes away from where Bobby lives. And they get out, and Bobby used to skate a little bit back in the day with his friend. It's been a while, so he's not going to do any tricks or anything like that. But he's just getting along. He's just getting on the board. He's kind of riding around a bit, just getting a little bit of exercise. And mostly he's out there just to hang out with Ben because he hasn't seen Ben in a second, and they used to be really tight. So sure enough, Bobby and Ben are just chilling at the skate park. They're having a good time. They're kind of just living their life. And that's when a very specific looking group of these emo kids, they pop out of nowhere basically, and they just appear at the end of the skate park. So this skate park is pretty big. It's not like a massive one. It's not like where you'd have a professional skater event or something. But it's a pretty big skate park. Like, the city definitely puts in like a good amount of bread into making this. So sure enough, they're looking over and they see this group of kids. And this group of kids has like a ringleader. It's like standing in front of the other 2. And he's kind of dressed like the other. They're all dressed like kind of like the other emo kids in the last story time. So I'm not going to go ahead and describe them. They're dressed a little bit differently, but it's all kind of the same, if you know what I mean. So sure enough, the kids are just standing at the end of the park, and it's really awkward because like Bobby goes over to Ben. He's like, dude, like, see those kids? Ben's like, yeah, I've just been staring at them. And Ben's like, dude, they've just been looking at us for like the last, he checks his watch.
Nice.
Dude, they've just been looking at us for like the last like 2 minutes, bro. That's really freaking
Man,
weird.
sheeps are so fast to
And, Bobby's
over.
like, yeah, man, like, this is kind of weird. I don't totally know, like, what's the deal with all this. Like, do you know what's up with them? And Ben's like, dude, I don't
I'm not that organized, so screw it, man.
And Bobby's like, yeah, I don't really skate anymore, so I don't know. Maybe this is, like, a place they normally go to. Either way, this is kind of weird. Let's just stay on this side, and hopefully they'll stay on their side. And if they come over, hopefully they're cool. Spoiler, they're not cool.
Damn, look at that, bro. I do 15 minutes all the time because I'm so bored. Like, I'm not doing anything.
Literally, the thing is, these kids, they don't even have skates they don't even have like a skateboard with them. And you don't need to have a skateboard to hang out at a skate park. A park is a park, and it's a cool place to just hang out with some friends. That's 100% true. However, I will say it is a little weird to like show up in a group of kids or a group of like a bunch of people, stand there and watch other people without saying anything to each other, without doing anything like that. I will say that.
I want to hear that sound. I want to hear that sound. Like milk.
Bobby and Ben are just kind of standing there like, dude, this is really freaking weird. What's going on? And that's when they look over. And sure enough, they see the emo kids start to walk closer to them. Like, the emo kids were just standing there for a good solid, I would say 10 minutes. And that's when the emo kids start to walk over to Bobby and Ben. And at this point, Ben turns over. He's like, dude, what is up with your neighborhood, bro? Like, why do you always get the weirdos? And Bobby's like, dude, it's not my fault. I don't go here this often. I don't know. And that's when the group of emo kids shows up. And there's, like, very clearly, like, this is going to sound weird, but, like, an alpha one. Like, okay. I'm not trying to use, like, weird, like, alpha male terms or whatever. Oh, Connor, which one's the sigma male? Shut up if you say that in the comment section, ironically, dude. Actually, shut up. But anyways, sure enough, the kind of like the alpha of the pack, whatever that even means in emo pack words, is like, hey, you two, I need a word with you. And Bobby and Ben kind of just look at each other, just like, oh my god, like, what's going on here? It's kind of strange. Ben kind of like whispers over to Bobby, like, dude, we are never going back to your park ever again. Bobby kind of just gives him this look of like, dude, I can't control this. So sure enough, the emo kid, let's just call him Alpha Emo Kid. No, I can't say that for much longer. The main emo kid, King of the Pack or whatever, walks up to them. He's like, bro, do you not know? And Bobby and Ben kind of look at each other, and Bobby speaks up and says, no, like, knows what, like, no what. The emo kid laughs, like, oh, you don't know that. This is our turf, dude. And Bobby and Ben kind of look at each other, and Ben speaks up like, turf? Emo kid's like, yeah, man, you don't understand. This is our turf. And Bobby just means like, what was that even mean? And they're like, dude, you don't want to mess with us. And one of them like legitimately pulls out like a wand, not like a knife or something, not like actually trying to be intimidating. Like, this isn't like, oh, they think they're like actually in a gang or something. This is their turf. They pull out a wand, like a freaking Harry Potter magic wand. And the main emo kid's like, bro, my boy over here knows magic. You don't want to mess with him, dude. And so Bobby and Ben come to these kids, and Ben speaks up. Ben's a little bit more brash. Ben's a little bit more, I don't know, confident is maybe the wrong word, but I'm going to use that word. Then confrontational, that's right. So Ben's a bit more confrontational than Bobby is. So Bobby would have been fine literally just going somewhere else. It's not like there's not a lot of other places. I mean, there's not a lot of other places they could go, but it's not like Bobby's big.
Alright, last one, guys. And I'm gonna put my secondary lamb.
Like, dude, what are you gonna do with that?
Where's my secondary lamb, bro?
Put a spell on me? Is this freaking Harry Potter, dude? We don't care. You guys don't have turf. That's ridiculous. Like, look, we're not taking up the whole park. This park's massive. You guys chill over there. We'll do our thing over here. There won't be any trouble. The emo kid's like, dude, there's gonna be trouble if you guys don't leave, or at least pay respects. And Ben at this point's like, the frick you mean pay respects? Like, what is that? Like, what do you even mean by that? And at this point, Bobby's starting to realize that Ben is kind of finding this amusing more than concerning. Bobby's more concerned by this just because they outnumber them like 4-2, and these emo kids definitely like aren't hitting the gym every day. But at the same time, like 4-2, it doesn't matter like how big you are. Like, you're not taking them one-on-one. So like Bobby didn't want anything like that. Even if it's that emo kid smoke, he didn't want it in the first place. So sure enough, Bobby kind of looks at Ben and kind of gives him a look of like, hey, like, come on now. And Ben is like, no, I'm going with this. And Ben's like, all right, man, you know what? Put a spell on us, bro. Like, if you honestly, like, you know what? We're gonna take the punishment. Put a spell on us. And the main emo kid looks at him and is like, dude, you don't want our smoke like that. You don't want us to, like, drop a spell on you like that, bro. You don't know our power.
Alright, that'll be today, and that'll be today, and bye.
Bobby is just looking at them, and Bobby's, like, kind of, like, completely free.